Hello and welcome to this second artistry lecture about Impressionism. The first one was a general introduction to Impressionism, but today I wanted to focus on Paris and modern life in Impressionist arts. Because in order to understand Impressionist art, we need to understand that it was not only an artistic style, but a response to a profound transformation of urban life. During the Second Empire under Napoleon III, Paris was radically redesigned by the urban planner Georges-Eugène Haussmann, whose massive reconstruction projects replaced medieval neighborhoods with wide boulevards, uniform stone facades, public parks, railway stations, and newly engineered infrastructure such as sewer systems and gas lighting. These urban renovations did more than just beautify the city. They altered how people moved, interacted, and perceived their surroundings. The newly constructed boulevards allow crowds to move more freely, while large glass windows invited the emerging middle class to participate in a culture of display and consumption. The modern city becomes a place of spectacle, mobility, and visual consumption, where individuals were constantly surrounded by strangers and fleeting impressions. And it is precisely this new sensory experience of modern life that Impressionists sought to capture. One of the most important subjects for the Impressionists was the modern boulevard, which symbolized both urban progress and social anonymity. In Boulevard des Capucines, painted by Claude Monet, the viewer is positioned above the street, looking down at a sea of indistinct figures who appear as small, rapidly applied brushstrokes rather than clearly defined individuals. Monet deliberately avoids detailed portraiture, choosing instead to convey the energy, rhythm, and movement of the crowd, thereby emphasizing the fleeting and impersonal character of urban life. Similarly, in Paris Street Rainy Day by Gustave Caillebotte, we encounter elegantly dressed figures navigating a newly constructed Haussmannian intersection. The composition is structured by strong linear perspective, which reinforces the rational geometry of modern urban planning. Despite the proximity of the figures, there is little sense of emotional connection between them. They appear isolated, absorbed in their own thoughts, embodying the paradox of modernity, being physically close yet socially distant. Later in Boulevard Montmartre, Camille Pissarro painted the same boulevard at different times of the day and in varying weather conditions, transforming the urban street into a study of atmosphere and light. Through these serial views, Pissarro suggests that modern life is not static but constantly shifting, shaped by transient condition of climate, season, and movements. Industrialization restructured time itself by introducing more regular working hours, which in turn created designated periods of leisure for the urban middle class. This development generated new spaces of entertainment, such as dance halls, cafes, theaters, all of which became central subjects for Impressionist painters. In Dance at Le Moulin de la Galette, Pierre-Auguste Renoir presents a vibrant scene of young Parisians gathered in a popular Montmartre dance garden. Sunlight filters through the trees and falls across hats, dresses, and faces in shimmering patches of light and shadow, creating a sense of spontaneity and joy. Renoir's loose brushwork reinforces the atmosphere of movement and sociability, suggesting that modern pleasure is collective, dynamic, and ephemeral. However, modern leisure also has a darker side. In L'Absinthe, Edgar Degas depicts a man and woman seated in a cafe, physically close yet psychologically detached. The woman's vacant expression and the star composition evoke a sense of isolation and alienation, reminding us that the modern city could produce loneliness as easily as excitement. The gas perspective, which appears almost cropped like a photograph, further enhances the impression of observing a candid and unposed moment, reinforcing the idea that modern life unfolds spontaneously before the artist's eyes. The railway was one of the most powerful symbols of 19th century technological progress, representing speed, industrial expansion, and the shrinking of geographic distance. In Gare Saint-Lazare, Claude Monet portrays one of Paris' major train stations as a space filled with steam, iron beams, and diffused lights. Rather than focusing on precise architectural details, Monet allows smoke to dissolve into soft clouds of color, transforming industrial machinery into a spectacle of atmosphere and luminosity. The painting suggests that modern technology is not merely mechanical but also aesthetic, capable of generating new visual experiences that challenge traditional artistic representation. Through this work, Monet demonstrates that modern industry is not something to be avoided in art, but something to be embraced as part of contemporary reality. Modernity also reshaped gender roles, and this transformation is visible in the work of Berthe Morisot, one of the most central figures of Impressionism. In The Cradle, Morisot depicts a quiet domestic scene in which a mother gazes tenderly at her sleeping child. The brushwork is light and fluid, and the composition emphasizes intimacy rather than spectacle. While this subject may appear traditional, it reflects the modern bourgeois interior shaped by urban life and middle-class values. Morisot's work reminds us that modernity does not exist only in public spaces like boulevards and train stations, but also in private interiors where social roles and identities are negotiated. The stylistic innovations of the Impressionists were as revolutionary as their subject matter. At a time when the official Paris Salon favored historical narrative, mythological themes, and smooth, polished surfaces, the Impressionists embraced visible brushstrokes, bright colors, and scenes of everyday life. In Impression Sunrise, Claude Monet presents a harbor scene rendered with loose, almost sketch-like strokes of paint. The forms are not sharply defined, and the emphasis falls on the atmospheric effects of light reflecting on water. A critic mockingly referred to the painting as a mere impression, unintentionally giving the movement its name. What was initially intended as an insult became a declaration of artistic independence. Impressionism represents such a decisive shift in the history of art because it redefined what was worthy of representation. Rather than turning to ancient mythology or heroic history, this artist focused on the immediate world around them: the boulevard, the cafe, the railway station, the dance hall, and the domestic interior. Through innovative brushwork and an emphasis on light, they translated the sensory experience of modern Paris into visual form. In doing so, they not only documented the transformation of the city, but also transformed painting itself, establishing a new relationship between art and the contemporary life. Impressionism, therefore, is not merely a style, but the expression of modern life. It is the artistic expression of modernity. So I hope you enjoyed this second lecture on Impressionism, which focused more on Paris and the modern life. I thought it was interesting to analyze Impressionism through a different angle. If you enjoy these kinds of videos about art, culture, I also make videos about fashion history, you can subscribe to this channel. I post a video every week. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next week for a new one. Bye!